Do you know what the biggest difference between sport and street? No, it's not groin strikes or eye gouging or any of that stuff. The techniques that work are the same. The only difference is the motive or the goal. Street guys, reality-based self-defense nerds, Krav Maga nerds, all these guys, they always act like it's really different. Like there's this huge divide. Really badass MMA fighters will tell you that there's no divide. And that's not true either. The truth is there is a divide. It's bigger than the sport guys think, and not nearly as big as the reality-based self-defense guys think. So I'm way behind on my mail, but I've also decided that I'm going to start getting into some more self-defense specific training. Now, I'm a huge advocate. I think if you really want to learn self-defense, I think you should just train at MMA and just train at it all the time. And then you'll be able to defend yourself against most people. But there are some considerations that change things a little bit. This is an El Cheapo gun I got off Amazon. It looked kind of really crappy on Amazon, but it looks really good in person. I thought it was going to be big and goofy and not really shaped like a gun. I really recommend this one. Go click that link down below and check it out. It looks like shit on Amazon, but it's super cheap. So if you just want to get started practicing with a gun, I'm going to get a fancy, probably one of the SIRT pistols. I'm going to get some fancy stuff, but for now, I've just got some real basic stuff. I ordered one of these. This is a cold steel training knife, and I actually already own one, and we've been playing with it, but it was a lot of fun. I've consulted a few experts, and what I've gathered is it's not fancy techniques. It's not these magical ninja moves.
I don't know either. I'm learning this too. I'm learning. I've never done this before. This is my first time. It's hard. My part's hard. This is hard.
There's specific, motives and considerations you have to make when you involve knives and guns. But the stuff that works. Punches in the face are punches in the face, and footwork is footwork. Thank you, cleaning up. Basically, they suggest you just get some trainers and fight with them and figure out what works and what doesn't. The hardest part about this is actually getting, we talked about training alone in the last vlog, but the hardest part, just kidding. The hardest part is getting guys into this stuff because people don't like to do stuff that they're not good at. A really good grappler doesn't want to do things that they're not comfortable with. It's like if you're a really good striker, you don't want to, roll around on the ground, or if you're, a really good at Tang Sudo, you don't want to do anything involving fighting people. What we've kind of found is that the knife kind of is an equalizer at first. If you're way better than someone and there's knives involved, you're not that much better than them at first. Now, I think that the better grappler, just like with anything, the guy who's better all around is going to do better quicker. But there's not like anti-knife stuff. There's not anti-grappling stuff. There's not anti-boxing stuff. Like, there's just stuff. And sometimes it works on people, and sometimes it doesn't. It's not like rock, paper, scissors. The guy who's better at fighting is going to win, period. This is cool. This is actually a box from Revgear. A break in this vlog to, do a disclaimer. Whenever a company sends me free shit, if I'm doing a product review, I always tell you, hey, here's my review on this, but we got it for free. They recently sent me this box. Now, some of the stuff I ordered. If you need kids MMA gear, we sell a ton of this. The bag, shin guards, gloves, and wraps, and that's really good for a pro shop, or if you're looking for just some gear for your kid, this is what I recommend. And I'll put links to their stuff down below. A bunch of hand wraps. I like their hand wraps. I talk about them all the time. I paid for all that stuff, but it looks like they sent me some free shit. So the difference between street and sport is not in the techniques. There are some things that are not as wise. Like a lot of, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy, one of his first reactions to a big punch is going to be to like change levels, shoot in, get the fight to the ground. That's not a terrible idea all the time, despite what Krav Maga geeks, besides what Krav Maga geeks would tell you, it's not always a terrible idea to go to the ground. We've done videos on it, even though that's not my thing. But it shouldn't be your like go-to response. Unless you just don't know how to fist fight and that's all you've got. They sent me these Rashguards. They sent me some t-shirts. They sent me mediums. They know I'm a small. Yo, when you wear a small t-shirt, it's funny. People, like when you get a job and you need a small, they'll be like, hey, what size shirt do you need? And you're like, I need a small. And they'll be like, and they'll hand you a medium. But the difference is in, mindset. The goal, what's the goal in a fight? To win. And you have lots of ways you can win. You can win on points. You can win by knockout. You can win by technical knockout. Your goal in a street fight or a self-defense encounter is to reduce the probability that you're seriously hurt or killed. That's it. Sometimes you do that by damaging the other person, punching, kicking, slamming, choking, eye gouging and biting. Sometimes that is the answer. But sometimes it's not. Sometimes the answer is running away, but the answer is not always running away. You guys that say, just run is not the answer. You gun guys that say, just shoot him is not the answer. You Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys that say, just something plata him. That's not the answer. Just blank is never the answer. The consequences for losing are far greater. You can do a high risk, high reward. You all right? You can do a high risk, high reward tactic or technique or move in a sport fight, because worst thing that happens, is you lose. Maybe you get knocked out or your arm broken, but you'll lose. That's really the worst thing. That's not the worst thing that can happen to you outside. Technique-wise, there's not a huge difference in techniques that are applicable in a sport context or a street context. It's mainly just the motive, mindset, and overall strategy involved. So, what do you think? What are some exceptions? Like, a spinning back fist. That's a great sport technique, but is it smart? Is spinning shit smart in a street fight? There's always exceptions, but there's also exceptions to those exceptions. I could make an argument for spinning shit in a street fight. That's a good video idea. That's going to be a video. If I've already made it, there's the link, but I haven't made it yet when I made this, so probably not a link yet. Well, no. In the meantime, I'm going to be doing some training. We're going to be rolling. We're going to be wrestling. We're going to be punching and kicking, but one of us or both of us may or may not have a knife. All right? Sometimes we'll start with it. Sometimes we'll produce it mid-fight, but we're going to find out, what works and what doesn't, and that's going to be highly individualized, If you've got a mean arm bar that you can put on really fast at an extreme angle, that might be safe to do, but if your jiu-jitsu sucks, right, you might just need to latch onto that arm and hold on for dear life. If your wrestling is really good, wrestling over a knife or a gun will be easier for you than if your wrestling sucks. They sent me a black, red, and a blue one. Let's try these on. I'll give you my first impression. It's not a review, but I'll give you my first impression of the Revgear Rashguards. The length and tightness here is about normal, like a normal Rashguard. Maybe it's slightly looser in the torso than some. Also, that might be because I have a little tiny bird chest and I'm currently dropping weight. The arms are pretty snug, but that might also be because, what I'm saying? The long sleeve one fits really nice. It's not as snug on the arms, and I feel like it fits a little better all the way around. I usually wear long sleeve ones anyway. No weirdness in the armpits like some Rashguards do, and no weirdness on the neck. Oh, look, it's got a logo on the sleeve, but it's... How do they think people are going to, in what position is that logo going to pop out in pictures and stuff? Oh, I get it. It's it's a jiu-jitsu thing, and this logo, who else's logo is showing right now? You're in one of those cool, heavily filtered Instagram pictures of, your BJJ tournament. Who else has a chance of their logo being in that picture?